Hi, my name is Stacy and I'm a sales manager with Allison's Pantry, and I'm excited today to share with you some ideas to use our custom culinary bases and gravy mixes. We're also going to talk a little bit about Shirley J's Universal Sauce mix. So I'm going to show you a few things that you can do with them and how easy they are to prepare. First, let me tell you what flavors we offer in our catalog. We have a brown, this is the gravy mixes, and they all come in a 1 pound bag. The smaller ones are 12 ounces. The flavors we have in the pan roast gravies, and those are the 12 ounce bags. Now these are all gravy mix that you're just going to add water to and stir, and you have instant gravy. They are flavored very well. They are easy to use. They will store for 15 months in this bag. That's what they recommend. I've actually stored them longer and they're just as good. For the best flavor, about 15 months. You're going to add water, boil, and serve them. They don't have any MSG, so no MSG and just 0 trans fats in them. So anyways, for the pan roast gravy, we have brown, beef, chicken, turkey, and then we also have the famous peppered biscuit gravy and the country gravy mix. Now, these are out of the bags because I wanted you to see how easy they are to store. So when you get your bag, you can you can store them in the bag, and it's okay, just put a rubber band or something around after you use them, but I like to put them in a container. So they'll fill a deli, the 32 ounce deli cup, and that's what this is the peppered gravy mix, and you can just store them in there and just dip out what you want. They'll also store in one of our spice containers, in the large spice containers. I like to cut the label out and then just tape it on the bag, and you'll know what you have there. So a couple ideas for storing them. The peppered and the country gravy. Now, people get confused. They get these and they don't know how to mix them up. So I want to tell you that these are made for food service size. So in food service, they use the whole entire bag. So that's what your directions say on the back. So for breakdown, I'm going to include those at the end of the video, so you'll know what you can use in your house. But basically it's 1 to 4. So if you are going to use 4 gallon, this will make a gallon of gravy, so 4 quarts. So you would use 1 bag for a gallon of water. At home, you're going to use 2 cups of water and a half of a cup of mix. So it's 1 to 4, and you're going to go ahead and just heat up that water, which I've got some water warming right now. So we're going to go ahead and make some brown gravy so you can see how easy it is. The things you can use this for, we sell the chicken cordon bleus. It works great over the chicken cordon bleus. This biscuit and country gravy I like to use with my hash browns and do biscuits and gravy, cook up our biscuits, and it works great for that. I have a couple of reps who gave me some ideas that they like to use them for. Brooke Young, she lives in Duchesne. She likes to use her leftover peppered gravy, and that's the little, got a little bit of pepper in it. It's a little spicy, but not terrible. My kids eat it and it's no problem. They don't think it's too hot. She likes to use it in a breakfast casserole, and she's going to include that video or the recipe at the end of this, so you'll have that to try too. But she just takes scrambled eggs and adds a little bit of milk to them, puts in sausage if she has leftovers, and adds hash browns, and then she pours the leftover gravy. Like if she's made gravy for something else, she has extra, she'll pour it over the top, and then she bakes that in the oven 350 until it's done. And she says it turns out to be a wonderful casserole. Now I haven't tried it yet, but she just says her kids rave about it, so give that a try. Another idea she likes to do with her country gravy is when she makes bread, she'll roll out the bread and she will cut up hamburger in it, and she doesn't even cook the hamburger ahead of time. She just crumbles the hamburger in, and then she rolls up the bread with the hamburger in the roll like a cinnamon roll, and then bakes it that way, and then puts the country gravy over there, the biscuit gravy over the top, and she says her kids love it. It's one of their favorite meals. She'll also include that recipe. And then I have Heather Hill in Gunnison. She says she makes a killer roast with hers. She likes to use one of our bases. Now, I didn't tell you about our bases. The bases come in a paste form. here is one of the paste. It looks kind of like paste. I don't know how else to describe it. This is a chicken. We have I'm going to show you the au jus base, the beef and chicken, and then we also have a ham flavored base. I don't have that here to show you. I love the bases. The difference in the base, we have a granular and this base. The difference in the two, they both season just as well as for each other, but it's just your preference of what you like. You're going to store the paste in your fridge, and if you'll freeze it in between, like when you first get it, if you want to extend the shelf life, just throw it in your freezer for a year, and it'll add, or throw it in your freezer and it adds a year to your shelf life. Sorry, my tongue got twisted. But I learned that from the custom people when I went to a show, at our food show, and they told us that. So you'll want to just store it. If you have to store it on your shelf, just throw it in the freezer. It'll last longer. But in the fridge, I've left them, gosh, 6 months probably in the fridge, because I just pull out what I need. So we're going to do a couple things with that, and I'm going to show you how that works. And then with the granular, now the difference between the granular and the paste. The granular, I prefer the paste. I like it. It's a little bit, I feel like it has a little bit more flavor. To me, it doesn't taste as salty, and that's because the paste has 920 milligrams of sodium per 8 ounce, so when you mix it up per 8 ounce, and the granular is 1280, so it is a little bit more sodium. The granular I like better if you're just going to do a broth though, so it's kind of your own preference. It does sit on your shelf, you don't have to put it in the fridge. We have beef and chicken in the granular. So let's go ahead and mix up some gravy. My water is boiling. Like I said, 2 cups of water. I have a half of a cup of the beef gravy mix, and we're going to go ahead and just pour that in to my boiling water, and then you're just going to mix it up. I'm using a wire whisk, so you'll mix that up, and then you're just going to bring it to a boil, and as it boils, it thickens. Now you can throw this in your casseroles if you need some kind of a liquid in your casserole besides maybe cream of mushroom soup or chicken soup or something like that. You can use your gravy mixes. They work great as a substitute for that. Okay, you can see that it's thickened up nicely. It's ready to serve. I go ahead and just take it off the stove, and I usually pour it in a little gravy tureen if you have one, but you can see that it's nice and thick, just about perfect for mashed potatoes. Now, if you have a hard time getting it to dissolve in there, you can use an immersion blender and just blend it up a little bit better, and that will, if you have any little chunks of seasoning in there, that'll solve that. I love an immersion blender. They work great for that. So there is our gravy. Now all we need is some meat to put it over top. Okay, with the paste, this is the chicken base. I want to show you what it looks like inside. This 1 pound jar will do 5 gallons of broth. So you use 5 gallons of water with it. Now at home, I don't always measure. I just kind of eyeball things. And when I was talking to some of my other reps, they were telling me kind of the same thing. So I think we're all pretty well the same. But you would use 3/4 of a teaspoon in this in 1 cup of water if you're going to make a base or a broth. When I'm making soups, or I use it in everything. If I need a little extra oomph in whatever I'm fixing, if it's a soup or a casserole or anything that I'm putting together that has a little bit of flavoring, if you'll throw it in there, just even a teaspoonful, it will add so much flavor to what you're cooking. I told you before, I love the base, the paste. It just works really well. You can use it in, and another thing too, one other thing that you may not realize, but even if, say we're going to do a mushroom soup later and I don't have any mushroom seasoning, so I'm going to go ahead and use the chicken because it will still enhance the flavor of the mushrooms. So you don't have to have the exact flavor for what you're cooking with. So just throw a little seasoning in there, it'll taste really good. Now, as far as the granular is just like it is, it's a little granular. bits of it, and what you're going to use this for, or how much you're going to use of this, is 1 teaspoon. So this paste is a little more concentrated, 3/4 of a teaspoon to a cup. This is 1 teaspoon to a cup, and just throw it in whatever you're using the same way you would the paste. Okay, I started to tell you a little bit about how Heather Hill makes a wonderful killer roast, and she actually uses deer meat, and so what she uses is the au jus base, which it's not showing up in catalog 11, but it is online. The number is 2061. This is wonderful. You can use this for French dip sandwiches. You can put it in anything that you need a beef flavor in. Anyway, she uses 1 tablespoon of this au jus base and puts it in with her roast, and then she says it masks the wild taste of the venison. I will include her recipe for this killer roast. You'll want to try that out too. Okay, let me tell you a little bit about Shirley J's Universal Sauce. It is wonderful in anything you need to make a cream sauce base with. Soups, sauces, gravies, casseroles, you name it, you can use it. This bag will get you 3 gallons out of this bag. You mix it 1 to 4, so 1 cup of mix to 4 cups of water. All you do is add water, stir, and boil. This sauce creates a perfect white sauce every time. You can freeze it, you can reheat it, it doesn't break down, it doesn't curdle. It's been used by professional chefs for 35 years. It only has 35 calories for a 1/4 cup serving, so that's great. It's got less calories than a lot of the other ones out there. You can use it anywhere you need anything creamy. So I'm going to show you today how to make a cream of mushroom homemade soup. I don't know if you like that, but I love mushrooms. So we make a cream of mushroom, just homemade soup, and we'll go ahead and use a little bit of this in there and show you how easy and quick it works. Okay, I've started by melting some butter, about 1/4 of a cube of butter, and 1 clove of garlic in my butter. It's gonna cook there, and then we're gonna go ahead and put some onions in. This is about 1/2 cup of onions that's just diced, and we'll go ahead and let those cook until they're translucent. Should take just a couple minutes. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put in my mushrooms. Now this is about 1.5 cups of just sliced and diced mushrooms. You can use any kind of mushroom you'd like. And we'll let that cook. Okay, our onions are almost ready. The mushrooms are looking nice and sauteed, nice and translucent. We're gonna go ahead and add 4 cups of hot water. Okay, and then we're gonna add just a good, nice teaspoon of that chicken base, just to give it a little extra oomph of flavor. That will just dissolve right in there. Then I'm gonna go ahead and add 1 cup of half and half. Now, if you prefer, you can use milk, and you actually don't even have to use butter at the beginning either. If you'd rather just use an olive oil or an oil, you're more than welcome to do that. So we'll go ahead and let this get hot. You're gonna bring it to about 190 degrees, just under boiling, so it's not quite boiling yet. Okay, it's been a few minutes. We're gonna go ahead and add the Universal Sauce from the Shirley J's. So I'm gonna go ahead and put that in, and then you're gonna wanna whisk this around and try and blend it as well as you can. And it makes it a little more creamy. Now, feel free to season this as you want. I added a little bit more of the chicken base just to give it a little more seasoning. It kind of brings it all together if you add a little bit more. So instead of just 1 tablespoon, I went ahead and put in 2, and I'll adjust the recipe to show that. But I'm gonna go ahead and use an immersion blender, because right now, as you can see, it's got some pretty good chunky mushrooms in there, and although I love mushrooms, I just wanna blend them down a little bit. So we'll go ahead and just mix this up. Okay, our soup is finished. I boiled it for 6 minutes. The recipe calls from 4 to 6 minutes, so just do it as long as you think you need it. It's relatively thick now, thicker. We'll go ahead and ladle some in a bowl so you can see how pretty and yummy it is. It tastes wonderful. This would make a great dinner just as is, just as soup. We'll go ahead and put a little parsley in there to just add a little more color. Now if you have fresh parsley, you can use fresh, but our dried parsley works great too. So there's your soup. If you want to use it as soup, it's great. If you want to add it to a casserole, the leftover of your cream of mushroom, you could add to a casserole. You could serve it over wild rice and have a little mushroom soup with wild rice. There's so many opportunities here that you can use these products for. I hope you've enjoyed learning a little bit more about custom culinary, the soups, the gravy bases, and the meat bases. And then also about Shirley J's Universal Sauce. I hope you adventure out and try it and add a little more seasoning in your life. Thanks.
Hi, I'm Julie, and I'm excited to talk to you today about some tips to get dinner on the table during the busy holiday season. Some quick, easy ideas that are going to really help you to make that happen. I'd like to start with a few ideas. First of all, make your meal plans ahead. The hardest part about putting a meal together for your family for dinner is deciding what to cook. And when it's 5 o'clock at night, that's just too late to decide. By then you're just like, run to McDonald's. So if you can make a plan on Sunday night or Saturday night, get your family involved. Ask them what they'd like to have for dinner. Just come up with a few ideas of what you're going to cook. That will help. Another idea is that you want to make sure that you're doing simple, easy meals. Things like casseroles and soups. A lot of things that Allison's Pantry has can really make your dinner time simple. That's why we love Allison's Pantry, because we're so busy. We work. We have all of these places we have to get our kids. And so Allison's Pantry really can help you get dinner on the table quick and easy. And we'll talk about some of those ideas. Another great idea is that you could serve breakfast for dinner. Allison's Pantry has great pre-made foods like our pre-cooked bacon or pre-cooked sausage links, or our delicious different kinds of pancake mixes that we have. All of those kinds of things are going to help you get a yummy dinner on the table quickly, especially because we don't always eat breakfast for breakfast because we're in too big of a hurry to make that happen. So that's another great idea. Another great idea that can help you get dinner on the table is the cook once, eat twice method. It's better than having leftovers. So you would cook in your crock pot some chicken breast during the day, and then you would make chicken tacos out of it at night, and then the next day you would make a chicken casserole or a chicken soup, so that you are saving time in the prep. So that's another great idea. Also, share the cooking responsibilities. When it's time for dinner, that's a great time to bring your whole family together to really build those connections. And someone can be chopping vegetables while someone else is stirring what's on the stove, and then that gives you a chance to talk about your day and really connect with everybody. The other option, of course, is that whoever gets home first, they can be the one that starts dinner. So getting everybody involved is going to help also. Another great idea is to use paper plates. They will make your life so much easier. Get the plastic utensils, get paper cups. Don't spend a lot of time in cleanup. Just throw everything away. My last tip for you is to make sure that you have a shopping list that is already made. Keep it on the fridge so whoever knows that you're running out of something can write it up there, put it on your phone, put it in your planner, because it's really stressful when you're in a hurry and you need to get your Allison's Pantry order made, or you need to run to the grocery store and you can't remember what it is that you need. So keep that running grocery list, and that will help. Hopefully some of these tips have been helpful to you, and they will help you to really get that dinner on the table. Now, I want to tell you about one really great idea for getting dinner on the table quick. It's our Soup Supreme. They come in packages like this, and the directions for cooking them are on the back. If you don't already know, our Soup Supreme goes from garden to packaging in 4 hours. It's that fresh. The people who make our Soup Supreme grow their own vegetables, and they go into the bag raw so that you're not going to have a soggy soup at the end of the day. So all you have to do is get your crock pot liner. You definitely want a crock pot liner, and then you pour your soup in and your water, and you let it cook all day, and when you come home, your soup is ready. Now, these rolls are to die for. They come in a box like this, and they come in little pucks. This is what the puck looks like. And what I did is I just put the pucks, I just laid them out. I did 16, laid them out on my cookie sheet this morning about 8 o'clock, and then about 3:30 they were ready to cook. Because all you want to do is you want to let them thaw, and then you want to let them raise. You can also do a quick method if you forgot to get the rolls out, where you heat your oven to 200 degrees and then turn it off, and then put the rolls in there and let them sit for 20 minutes or so until they've risen, and then you can bake them that way. So, but yeah, super easy. and they're also very impressive when you have to take rolls to a mill. These are going to be the very best rolls that you can eat. And so rolls with our soup supreme already cooked. This is our baked potato chowder bacon with bacon in it, and it is so good. So this is going to make a really nourishing meal for your family that only took minutes to prepare. I'm excited to show you this recipe because it is a fast, easy recipe that is perfect for the holidays because you're so busy and you've got so much going on. It'll go to the table really quickly. You could use this as a freezer meal and your family is going to love it. We are using our Rosina's Italian meatballs. These are wonderful because they are pre-cooked, and they taste good. Sometimes when you get them at the grocery store, they're like all greasy and meh. These are not. These are good. They're high quality, they're pre-cooked, and you could do a million things with them. You could make a meatball sub, you could serve them with lamb, Weston mashed potatoes and gravy and a side vegetable. You can serve them with your spaghetti, you can serve them with fried rice. There's a million things you can do with these meatballs, and I love their versatility. But today we're making a pasta dish. So this is what we do. It's called dump and bake meatball casserole, and you just dump in the pasta. There's 16 ounces of pasta, and then 3 cups of water. And then we're gonna add in 25 ounces of pasta sauce. And then we're just gonna stir that up. You can see it a little bit better. We just stir all of this up, and then we're gonna add meatballs. These are actually still frozen. They can finish cooking, they can warm through in the oven. And I'm gonna add 3/4 of a bag of our meatballs. Then we're just gonna stir this all up and we're gonna cook it in the oven for about 30 minutes, pull it out, add some mozzarella cheese, let it cook uncovered for about 5 to 10 more minutes, and it will be done. This dump and bake casserole turned out fantastic, you guys, and it was so easy and so delicious. This is something everybody at your house is gonna love. This is a really quick, easy dinner that your family will love and is super nourishing. It's our Bridgeford biscuits. Now they come in a big case and they come in individual packages like this, and there's 6 and they're already pre-cooked. And so you can either put them in the oven and warm them, or you can put them in the microwave, which is actually my favorite. They're big, they're fluffy, they're delicious just as a side, but we're actually gonna just break it in half. And then we have our chicken pot pie filling, which has been cooking in the crock pot all day. You just add 1 quart of water to this and let it cook, and it makes the perfect topping for this yummy dinner that everybody's gonna love. So I've warmed up my biscuits, and then we're just gonna pour the topping over that. Doesn't that look delicious? What a quick, easy meal to have for your family for dinner. And you're gonna love the biscuits, you're gonna love the pot pie filling. I'm excited to talk to you about how to prepare and cook a prime rib. A lot of times we're afraid to make a prime rib because we think it's going to be difficult or complicated. We don't want to mess it up. But I'm here to show you that it can be very easy to do and, of course, very delicious and impressive. A prime rib is the meat that is one of the best cuts of meat that money can buy. And it's cut from the rib of the beef. And so it's a piece of meat the muscle is hardly ever used. So it's especially tender and delicious. It's an eye of meat, and then there's a little bit of marbling, and then there's also, if you can see, there's a fat cap that goes on the top of it, and then that moisture reaches in and all of that fat drips in there and makes it taste especially good. So a few things about this roast that you need to know. What I did was I had it uncovered in the fridge overnight. I salted it and put it in because one of the things that's going to make this Main Street Meats, which Main Street Meats is just absolutely the best, you guys. They have they're locally owned from Salt Lake City, and they grow their own beef, and so you know that you're getting something that's really high quality. But I put it in overnight in the refrigerator uncovered because that's going to make it that really good crusty crust that goes on the outside of it. I put some salt on it so it could start blending into the meat overnight. And then this morning I set it out for a little while, about an hour, hour and a half, so that it could come to room temperature because that's going to really help it keep the juices and everything inside of it. And then our next step, when it comes to seasonings, it's really hard to tell you what seasonings to use because you need to use the seasonings that are going to be best for you and your family. When it comes to seasonings, you want to use a seasoning that's going to be something that your family loves. You can use garlic, you can use rosemary, you can use a mixture of seasoning salt. There's a lot of different things that you can use, but I wanted to keep mine really simple because I'm going to add some au jus base to it that I think is going to be great at the end. But all I'm adding today is I'm going to add some garlic salt, and then I'm also going to add from Allison's Pantry, and then I'm going to add some pepper because we already salted it yesterday. And then we are going to sear it in hot oil so that it can get brown on all sides. You guys, doesn't this look so yummy? So I've been browning it on all sides. You can see that it's all tied together. Everything's done for you. It makes it so easy to make this roast. And this is a boneless roast, so it's going to be super good. But it's all browned and ready to go. And so now I'm going to throw it in the crock pot on low for about 3 to 4 hours. We'll know it's done by testing the internal temperature. Our prime rib roast, as you can see, has got a temperature of 124 degrees. We're going to pull it out of the crock pot now. It's been about 3 hours that it's been cooking. And we're going to let it rest for about 20-25 minutes, and as it rests, the temperature is going to go up to about 130 degrees, and that will be a medium rare prime rib. You can cook it longer and it will be more done. You can cook it less and it'll be less done, but medium rare is my favorite. Our prime rib is finished. It was so easy to make, just throwing it in the crock pot. I was amazed. And look how good it looks. Oh my goodness, it turned out perfect. I think that this is something that anybody can make. You don't have to worry or fret. You just get it in your crock pot and you're good to go. Prime rib is on sale this month. It's only $59.99 for a 5-pound roast. It's something your family will really enjoy. Now I've made some au jus to go on top of it. We have this really great base. All I did was add 1.5 teaspoons to about 2 cups of water. Worked out perfectly, and we'll serve that along with our roast. I also want to tell you about our scalloped potatoes. These are from Stouffer's. They come in a 72-ounce tray, and all you have to do is warm them in the oven. They can go in the oven either frozen or they can go in the oven thawed. It's up to you, but see how delicious they look? And when you add that to our prime rib and the rolls and a little bit of vegetables, you have an absolutely beautiful meal that tastes so good and that is so quick and easy to make. So I hope you've enjoyed the webinar today. I hope you're going to try some of these recipes. Be brave, try the prime rib. It is so easy. I think you're going to love it. Thanks.
Hi everyone, I'm Becky and I am a regional sales manager with Allison's Pantry and a sales rep in Rock Springs, Wyoming. And I'm excited today to teach you about some of our great products that will help you to do your holiday baking and candy making. We have a fun cookie mix that is now available from Shirley J. This is our soft ginger molasses cookie mix. Now this is a great mix because everything's in the bag except for 1 cup of shortening and 1/4 cup of water. So we're going to mix this up and make cookies with it. I now have the cookie mix all done up. So basically what you do is you have 1 cup of shortening, you put the bag of mix in, mix it with your hand mixer or a KitchenAid if you happen to have one of those, for about a minute to mix the shortening into the mix. Then you're going to add 1/4 of a cup of water and mix it until it begins to form dough. So now we're going to use our wonderful cookie scoops, and we're going to scoop out a scoop and form it into a ball and roll it in sugar. Now, something else that sounds really good is our cinnamon vanilla French toast sugar, but we're going to just roll it in regular sugar today and put it on our cookie sheet. And you want to put them about 2 inches apart, and then we're going to bake them in an oven at 350 degrees for 11 to 13 minutes. Our ginger molasses cookies are done, and don't those look wonderful? So for our baking portion, I have a couple of wonderful cookie mixes. So number 1 is our Marvelous and Chewy Macaroon Mix. This is the absolute easiest macaroon mix you will ever use, and it is so delicious that you're gonna wonder why you'd put so much effort into making it. So This is number 1965, comes in a big 4-pound bag. Now, to make a batch of these, you're going to do 3.5 cups of mix and 1/2 cup of hot boiling water. That's it. Mix and water. You're gonna mix it up for, well, you mix it up until everything's moist. And then you let it sit for about 10 minutes, and then you're gonna scoop it onto your tray and bake it. So easy. So here we go. 3.5 cups of mix, 1/2 cup of hot boiling water, and mix. That easy. There we go, all mixed in, nice and moist. So we'll let it sit for 10 minutes and we're ready to scoop it onto our cookie sheet. All right, it's rested 10 minutes. So now I'm gonna use our awesome cookie scoop and scoop out the cookies onto our cookie sheets. Of course, have to use our cookie sheets and our parchment paper. So I'm gonna scoop out a batch of nice big round ones. These ones you're gonna want to bake in your oven for roughly 15 to 18 minutes, but you want to watch the cookies as it gets towards the end of the time. You want to get them out when they just barely start to brown. That way they're not too much, they're still a little bit chewy. This one batch is supposed to make roughly 20 cookies, and of course it just depends on what size scoop you use and how you want your cookies. Sometimes when I do fairs, I like to make them just little bite size so that people can try them. But you can also do bigger cookies than this if you want them that way. So we've got one batch of nice round ones. Aren't those beautiful? I love our cookie scoop. And then I'm gonna do one batch and I'm going to flatten these out a little bit. So if you like them nice and chewy, the rounded works the best. But if you like them a little bit crispier, then you're gonna want to flatten them out, and it's really easy. Just scoop them out, then you take a glass jar and just flatten them out just a little bit. There you go, just like that. See how easy? Oop, stuck, there we go. And we'll do a batch of those all flattened out. And the flatter ones, you're only going to want to bake them for 11 to 13 minutes. Again, watching it till you see the edges starting to brown. Okay, our macaroon cookies are done. The one on the left is the ball, and the other one is where we flattened it. So look how great they are. And you know, these are perfect by themselves, but if for the holidays or special occasions you want to dress them up a little bit more, well, let's talk about a couple ways you could do that. Okay, so one way to dress up our coconut macaroon cookies is to dip them in chocolate. Now, if you just want to dip them, just plain, it's very easy. I just melted some chocolate chips in my microwave again, and we're gonna dip them, and look how easy that is. Just half the cookie, and they're good to go. It probably would be helpful if you had it in a deeper container, like a thinner, deeper container, so it's nice and good there, but those work really good. There's our flat one, just a part of it is being dipped. And if you want to do the whole thing, you can, but I think it looks really good when you just do a part of it. Look at that, isn't that great? And we'll stick it on parchment paper for that chocolate to get solid again. So if you want to do even more, there's all kinds of things you can dip them in. So what I've done is I've taken our Oreo cookie pieces. Now these are a medium piece, so they're a little bit bigger pieces when you get them out of the bag. So they're pretty decent sized pieces. And so these are great if you want to put them on ice cream or cakes, but if you want smaller pieces, I just took about a cup of them and stuck them in my little, I have a little food processor, and ground them up till they were a little bit smaller pieces. So now what we can do is dip your cookie in the chocolate first. Ooh, yum. Okay, and then dip it in the candy, or the crushed candy. Look at that, doesn't that look wonderful? And then we'll set that down. Another thing you can dip them into are chopped nuts, or you can take any one of the nuts that we sell and chop them up yourself. I actually have a little hand chopper. So I took our almonds, because I love almonds, and I did those, and now I'll just dip those in there. There we go. We've got shaved almonds on there. So there you go, a couple of fun things. You could do sprinkles. You could do almost any kind of extra topping that you want to. Super, super easy. I have a fun product that hopefully all of you have tried, and if you haven't, you're going to want to. And this is our caramel block. Now it comes in a box, just like this, and then it's inside of a bag, and so you just pull it out. Now, it's going to be hard, of course, and there's a lot of different ways to soften it up. You can put it on your stove in a saucepan and heat it up on low heat. If you want it to be more in a caramel texture, a lot more runny, then you want to add a little bit of milk or cream or even evaporated milk to make it more like a caramel sauce. You can also cut it up into pieces, which is really awesome. Of course, you're going to need a sharp knife, but you can cut these. And actually, my husband loves caramels, and so what's really fun is I can take this and I can cut it up into chunks, just like if I bought wrapped caramels from the store. And because it does cut up that way, really easy. And you've got homemade caramels that you can just stick out for people to grab and taste. Look how easy that was. And you're gonna save a lot of money. So there's a caramel. It's not perfect square, but hey, it tastes amazing. So you can have homemade caramels that way without having to buy them already pre-wrapped at the store and take off all those plastic wraps. That's kind of a pain sometimes, especially if you're wanting it for baking. So anyway, it really is pretty easy to cut it up and use it. So today, just some suggestions for you. Caramel apples are an amazing thing to do, and we actually have a lady here in our area who does the most amazing caramel apples. She not only covers them in caramel, but then she coats them with all different kinds of chocolate and sprinkles, and just they are amazing. And she uses the Oreo cookie pieces to put on top. She uses sprinkles, she uses nuts. It's just amazing. Everybody wants her products. Well, we can make those kind of things with our products too, because we have the same amazing products to make those kind of things. But today, couple of suggestions. We have amazing fun products. We have these snap pretzels. These are so fun. My kids love these, and they're great just to eat them plain. But what I want to do today is a couple of different things. We've had ideas in the past with using Rolos and smishing them in between, but you can do the same thing with our caramels. You can take your caramels and put them in between. We're going to stick them in the oven for a little while to get them warm, but you know they're soft enough, you can just squish them. And then I'm gonna put a second caramel on top once it's warmed, and then we're going to dip them in the chocolate. So we have that fun idea. You can also make turtles, homemade turtles, which we have a wonderful product. It's our Kirkland pecans. And these are pecan halves, so they're just perfect, and we can make turtles with them. And so you're just going to take one or even two if you like them nice and big, and we'll put a caramel on them and melt it, and then we're going to coat it in the chocolate also. So I like to use my oven and kind of watch them as they start to melt and they get softer, so they're a little bit easier to use, but not very long. And then you coat them in our chocolate, which our chocolate chips are amazing. Again, you can microwave them 30-second intervals, and I have a whole bowl full of chocolate ready to go to coat our delicious products. So let's see how they turn out. All right, so we're getting our pretzels ready to go. Okay, and we've cut up some more caramel here. So we're gonna put these on top of these. And then we're gonna get our turtles ready to go. So I love pecans. I'm gonna do a double pecan and put two of them here side by side, and then I'll cover it with a piece of caramel to melt on it. And then we'll stick it in a 350-degree oven for just a few minutes. And you're going to want to watch this as you start to see the caramel melt. Then it's ready to come out. And then we'll work with the chocolate. All right, so our caramels have melted just a little bit, softened up really nice in a 350-degree oven for only 2 minutes. And they are ready to go. So with these ones with the pretzels, I'm going to put a second pretzel on top and press it down. And then we're going to dip these in chocolate. And I'm only going to do half of it. One, because it's easier to do it that way than trying to dip it and completely cover it. But that's up to you if you like to do that and you don't mind the mess. It works just fine. The turtles are also ready to be dipped, and again, you can completely cover them or only do half of them. It's such a versatile thing to work with that it's totally up to you how you like them. I think they would be also great if you wanted to dip them in our white, classic white vanilla chocolate chips. Melt those and dip them in those. They would be great also. Something else I thought of while these were sitting in the oven that would be really fun with these pretzels is you could just take a pretzel, melt some caramel, dip it maybe 3/4 of the way in caramel and then half the way in chocolate, and just use these that way. That would be a great idea. So there's just a ton of different ways to use our amazing products from Allison's Pantry to make holiday treats and gifts for your friends, your family, your co-workers that they would just absolutely love. So let's go ahead and we're going to dip these halfway. Oh, they look wonderful. There we go, half chocolate and caramel. Wow, it bent a little bit. Be careful when you're holding it. I held on to it too tight and it kind of squished it. There we go. Yep, they're still soft. I might have to wait for these to harden up a little bit before I start dipping because they want to squish all the way out. But anyway, they're going to taste amazing. There are those. Now let's go ahead and dip half our turtles in chocolate. Oh yeah, definitely want to let these cool. These are just squishy and coming apart, but don't those look delicious? I'm gonna have to eat this one. Darn! Okay, chocolate on the fingers. We're ready to go. There's another fun idea for you for your candy making. All right. This recipe is fruit and nut bark, and bark is just such a fun holiday treat because you can put all kinds of things in it. You can mix all kinds of things into it, and you can make just an innumerable amount of different kinds of bark. But today it's a fruit and nut bark. So we're going to be using, of course, our very high quality chocolate chips from Ghirardelli. This is number 1302, our real milk chocolate chips. It comes in a 3-pound bag. Then we also have our Ghirardelli classic white vanilla chips. And then we're going to be using our Fisher fruit and nut mix. This is number 1311, and this is a great mix. It has dark and golden raisins. It has pumpkin seeds, dried cranberries, hazelnuts, almonds, and shelled pistachios. Doesn't that sound wonderful? So we're going to make a bark with that. Now, barks are really easy to do, and in order to melt your chocolate, you can do it a couple of ways. You can do it on your stovetop, or the way I like to do it is in your microwave because it's really fast. So we're going to start off with 2 cups of our real milk chocolate chips, and you want to put them into a microwave safe bowl. There we go. And we're going to start microwaving them on 30-second increments. So you want to make sure when you are melting your chocolate chips that you're mixing them really good. That is what will help them to get smoother. Okay, so see how fast that was? I did it in 3 30-second increments, and look how nice and smooth those chocolate chips have melted. Now, I have taken our cookie sheets, which I love our cookie sheets, number 4020. These are so great. They're 13 by 18 inches. And I have taken wax paper and I've put a double line on it so that it covers the whole pan and the sides come up so that you're not going to get any chocolate on the pan itself, and it'll make it really easy to break up the bark when it's all done. So now what we're going to do is we're going to put our melted chocolate into the cookie sheet. We want to spread it out. Now we don't want to spread it too thin, but you definitely want a nice layer on there, and if it doesn't look really good, we'll melt some more and put it on. This is a really nice size pan here. So we'll just take it now and smooth it out. You'll probably have to hold the wax paper because it does want to slide around. Okay, we have our first layer smoothed out. Now we're going to put this in our refrigerator for 30 minutes to have it harden up, and then we'll get ready for the second layer. All right, it's been half an hour and our chocolate is set up, and now I have melted 2 cups of our classic white vanilla chips, and we're going to spread it over the top of our dark chocolate, milk chocolate. I think I want a little bit more white chocolate, so I'm going to melt some more. Okay, we have the white chocolate now spread over the first layer of real milk chocolate, and we're going to put this in the refrigerator for another half an hour to solidify. The next layer is now solid, so I have now taken 2 more cups of the milk chocolate chips, and to it we're going to add our fruit and nut mix. And I'm going to go ahead and add 1 cup into that and mix it in, and then we'll pour it out and smooth it onto the top of our bark. Okay, we've got our last layer on there. Doesn't that look delicious? Now we'll let this harden up in our refrigerator for another half an hour. Here is our chocolate bark. This is our fruit and nut chocolate bark, and doesn't that look wonderful? What a fun gift for the holidays, or just to snack on yourself. Here we have it, all our delicious treats today. I hope you have learned a few things about the amazing products that we sell at Allison's Pantry, how versatile they are, and how they can help you with your holiday baking and candy making needs. Thank you for watching.